Good evening, everybody. How are you all doing? Okay. So, yes. So, don't think about Diwali. I know that people are already celebrating Diwali outside. Don't think about Diwali. As an aspirant, you have to be very, very serious. No matter what festival is coming up or which holiday is coming up, you have to be serious from the preparation point of view. Okay? Yes. So, yes, this is our first class of DD Ethics. We are done with our workshop, and I think that the concerns which you had before attending the workshop are all cleared, right? So, this is our first DD Ethics class, and in this class, we are going to have a proper explanation about how you should actually write answers, especially the static questions of ethics. Okay? Yes. So, the day one topic was ethics and human interface. Now, as I told you all in my workshop also, you need to first see every term of the ethics syllabus, which is very, very important. Like, it is important from other GS subjects point of view also, but in ethics, it is more important because you'll have to keep on using these terms in your answers. Right? In general studies, you can match up with other words of other subjects also. But when it comes to ethics, you will have to definitely mention these words from the syllabus. Okay? So, today's, day one. Let's begin with day one. The syllabus for day one, which you have already written answers, right? So, that is ethics and human interface. Now, if we see from the syllabus, ethics and human interface topic includes essence, determinants and consequences of ethics in human actions, dimensions of ethics, ethics in private and public relationships, human values, which include lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders, reformers and administrators, role of family, society and education institutions in inculcating values. So, this is the first topic in ethics syllabus, which is a broad topic called as ethics and human interface, and I have read this out for you so that you will concentrate more and you will remember it more. Okay, now today, that is day one, the topic is ethics and human interface, essence, determinants and consequences of ethics in human actions. This was your topic on day one, right? Yes. Yeah, so just want to tell you all about our telegram channel where we are posting very innovative content. Okay, you can just go through our telegram channel where we are posting about the daily data point, we are simplifying Hindu editorial, we are posting a poll on previous year questions on our YouTube channel community, then important dates and days, learn one concept every day. I hope you are seeing that concept every day. Then prelims booster series, and now as part of prelims booster series, we have come up with environment series, where we are discussing critically endangered species in 1 minute. Okay? Yes. Now see, this is a line from us. These are the lines from us. Ethics is not just a subject or a paper in UPSC exam. Ethics is the way of living. Our lives are precious and are above all exams and jobs. Similarly, being ethical to each and every life on this earth is more important. Be kind to yourself and everybody. Don't self-harm yourself and don't harm others. So this is from Team FemPower IAS, and we wish you success not only in UPSC but also in your life. Okay? Yes, I want all of you to see this every day in the DD Ethics posters. Okay? Yeah, this is a note to the students. This is a very comprehensive key which I have worked very, very hard in coming up with. Just go through this. The model answers provided in the key exceed the word limit. Usually, we have to write, or you have to write your ethics answers in 150 words. I'm talking about the static questions, right? Whereas the case studies should be written in 250 words. Now, when you see this, the model answers will obviously exceed the word limit because we have to give you extra information, extra examples, which you can remember and use it in your answers based on the question, right? So topics are written in a detailed way so that students can learn the concepts well. Value addition contains information. I'm sure you will be surprised to see the value addition I'm making to these questions. Okay, that can be used in other GS papers as well. Another way of making introductions and conclusions. Yes, this is one more interesting thing. I have come up with alternative introductions wherever necessary, alternative conclusions wherever necessary in this ethics answers. Okay, yes, each ethical answer can be written in different ways, but students are advised to address all the dimensions given in the question. For example, when you read the question, you may feel that you come up with your own answer from your own perspective. That might not be the opinion of other student, but still that is your opinion. So even that is correct. But you need to provide proper arguments for your answer. The same thing is true for you also. Whenever you read the question, you can come up with your own answer, but it depends on what you're writing and it should meet the demand of the question. Okay. So happy learning to all of you, right? Yeah. So we have seen the syllabus thing, and now the most excited and the thing which all of you have been waiting for. The first question of day 1. It's visible to all of you, right? Yeah. So see the question of day 1. Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself. This was given by Rumi. What does this quotation mean to you? You have to answer this in 150 words. Now, before I talk about this answer or before showing you all how I have written my own perspective of this answer, I want to give you all a general idea of how you should actually approach ethics static answers. Okay, so this will give you a lot of clarity. Yeah. Whenever, let me write the value addition in the last page. So now I'm going to talk about the approach you should actually follow whenever you see a question. Okay, this helps in your GS also, but let us see this from ethics point of view, right? So, approach. Whenever you see a question, any question, the first thing you have to do is identify the key words of the question. Every question has keywords. It can be one keyword, it can be 2, or it can be 3. Okay? Identify the keywords of the question, and the main reason why you should identify the keywords of the question is, in your answer, be it any dimension, be it introduction, be it body of the answer, be it conclusion, you have to keep on using these keywords to ensure that you are within the answer. You are also going to give a very good feel to the examiner that you are writing or you are making use of the keywords of the answer. Okay. So the second one is identify the key directives. Identify the key directives. Now, what are these key directives? Key directives are nothing but those words given in the question which direct you to write an answer. Okay, so key directives. For example, analyzing something is different from explaining something. Do you all agree with me? True? Evaluating something is different from examining something. So UPSC comes up with such terms like evaluate, analyze, critical analyze, examine, describe, discuss, right? Illustrate, elucidate, mention, enumerate, clarify, comment. All these are called as key directives, and it is these words which direct you to write the answer. If you properly follow the direction of these words, you will definitely write your answer within the word limit and you will meet the demand of the question. That is what UPSC is testing you. If UPSC is asking you to mention something, if you keep on explaining, what are you doing to yourself? You're wasting the time. You're wasting those number of words on the paper. You're wasting the space. So if it is asking you to mention, you just mention and leave it. That is the importance of identify the key directives. Okay. Third one is you have to identify the dimensions of the question. Okay, so this activity should be done when you read the question itself. So while reading itself, you have to identify the keywords, you have to identify the key directives, and then dimensions. Dimensions are nothing but the headings you keep in the body of the answer. Obviously, introduction and conclusion are also dimensions, but apart from introduction and conclusion, within the dimensions part, whatever headings you come up with, within the body part, whatever headings you come up with, that is called as dimensions. And once you identify the right dimensions, you are done with 50% of your answer. Identifying dimensions will have or will carry more marks than the other things, because it is this particular part where the evaluator will see if you are actually meeting the demand of the question. Okay, so it is dimensions part. So the later aspects of how you should make your introductions very impressive, how you should make your conclusions very impressive, and how you should use your key directives, and how you should properly write your dimensions will be discussed in later classes. Obviously, I should not dump everything in your mind in the very first class, right? So you understood till here? Yes? Yeah. So this is the dimensions, and after I'll tell you how to identify what dimensions to write when a particular question is given. Okay? Yes. So you have to keep these three things in mind. Now when it comes to ethics questions, this is common for all the subjects, for GS 1, 2 and 3. But when it comes to ethics questions, the difference is, be it after identification of keywords and after identification of key directives, in the dimensions, that is introduction, body as well as conclusion, what are you going to do? You are going to write a lot of ethical terms, which I told you and which I showed you during the starting of the class about all the terms of ethics syllabus. Okay, you have to keep on using these ethical terms by meeting the demand of the question. Fine? This is fine? Yes. So, and one more unique thing about ethics is, wherever possible, okay, wherever possible, you have to come up with your own examples, you have to come up with quotations, okay, which makes your ethics answers complete. Fine? Yes. Now, as I told you, now just take 5 minutes of your time, okay? Read the question. I told you what to do first in your ethics answers, right? So after seeing this question, now you just take 5 minutes of your time, at least write it down in your notebook about what are the key words in this question, what are the key directive, and what are the dimensions of this question. So this is a small activity which I want all of you to do before I actually begin my explanation. So yes, are you all ready? So as I told you, we need to first see the keywords of this question. So yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself. Rumi, what does this quotation mean to you? Now, what are the keywords in this question? And what are you going to? Changing myself. Okay, then? Wise. Okay. It's very simple. The question is saying that yesterday I was clever. Okay, between clever and wise, which is more superior? Wise, right? So, yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. That means changing the world and changing myself. These are the two most important aspects of this particular question. So, your answer should revolve around something where, as she said, being wiser is more superior to being clever. You have to focus on how you should change yourself before even thinking to change the world. So according to this quote, it means that you have to change yourself first to bring in the change in the world. Okay, so obviously we are done with keywords. Then what about the key directive? What about the key directive in this question? What is the key directive in this question? So what does this quotation mean to you? What is this quotation? That is the key directive. So here you don't have to analyze it, you don't have to critically analyze it, you don't have to evaluate it. You just need to say, what does this quotation mean to you? That means you give your own opinion about why changing yourself is more important first before you change the world. Okay? Yes. So see here, your answer should address the dimensions given in the question. Start with explaining the quote, because the question is saying, what does this quotation mean to you? So at least give a short idea about what is that quotation meaning to you. In the body of the answer, try to explain why changing oneself is a clever thing to do before attempting to change the world. Here, it's okay, it is wiser, but first you should say why it is clever to change yourself first, okay? And how such changes help us and others as well. Conclusion should emphasize the necessity of changing ourselves and trying to bring change in the world for the greater good. Now see, as I told you, your introduction, body as well as your conclusion should have the keywords. So that is the reason I'm telling that your conclusion should emphasize the keywords which are changing yourself as well as changing the world. Okay? Yes. Now tell me a few points about what are the implications of changing yourself first.
Introspect.
Okay, so you introspect yourself. Okay. Next. So you'll get to know yourself. You will know what else is needed for you. Then, don't you think if you change yourself, you are going to set an example to others also? For example, take Diwali. Supreme Court has recently banned the crackers, right? So, why don't you start it yourself? If your friends or your neighbors are lighting the crackers and resulting in noise as well as air pollution, why don't you stop celebrating this festival? This is festival of lights. It's not festival of sound or festival of air pollution. So you first you go out only to light the diyas. Don't light the crackers. Don't light those hydrogen bombs and all. You set an example. So this year maybe your friend may think that I have bought the crackers already, so I should not waste them, so let me use them. But next year that thought has already got instilled in his mind that he should not make noise or sound pollution or air pollution for the others. This is an example, right? So change in you can result in setting up an example for others. It results in change in others. So individual, family, society, state, nation, world. Everything begins with individual. So why don't you become that individual? That is what Rumi is saying. Okay? Yes. Yeah, so as I told you, the introduction through which he tries to give the idea of difference between idealistic and realistic. Yeah. So when I'm using the words called idealistic and realistic, tell me that minute difference between the two. Just think for some time. What is being idealistic and what is being realistic? Okay. 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 Any other responses?
Realistic was being practical.
Okay. Okay. I'll study the entire polity in one day. Is it idealistic or realistic?
It is idealistic. It cannot be done impractical.
So what is realistic? Dividing the number of chapters, at least 2 chapters, 3 chapters or 4 chapters a day depending upon your capacity. So that is the difference between idealistic and realistic. So in changing yourself, you have to show the difference between being idealistic and realistic. You can't totally get into extreme thing that I'll change myself in an extreme way, so I'll set an example for others. No. You can set an example for others only if you are realistic. Idealistic is okay to come up with ambitions, to put up certain goals for yourself, but it is realistic which you should actually be to bring in the change in yourself as well as in the world. Okay? Yes. So, yes, I gave the difference between idealistic. All good things can be achieved in a day. That is being idealistic. Change in the world doesn't happen in a single day. That is being realistic. So then, yes, coming to the body of the answer, you have to talk about why is it wiser to change oneself first before actually thinking to change the world. So I have given some points here, just go through this. Every change we want to bring in the society will start from individual, and then this has the potential to spread to others. You never know what a single thought from you or how much your thought will have the capacity to instill that thought in others or to encourage others. right? So an example, civil rights movement by Dr. Martin Luther King, apartheid movement by Nelson Mandela, right? So all those were mass movements which began with a single person. Personal views and thoughts would bring criticism. So obviously, see, I usually remember this example very much. Last year, during my mentorship program, I have given an essay for the students. That is regarding be the change you want to see in the world. Okay, so many students have written that essay, but to tell you all, 6 out of 10 students has written a common introduction, and that introduction is about, can you guess it? Very good. That introduction is about Mahatma Gandhi and the Jaggery story. So why will the evaluator feel like giving you the marks when many students are coming up with this common example? So you have to come up with your own example or a new example, or you have to make it new to the evaluator also, right? So see here, attempting to change the world without actually changing one's personal views and thoughts would bring criticism. So if we take the same story of Mahatma Gandhi and Jaggery, had he not given time to get rid of that his interest in Jaggery, would he have he wouldn't have suggested it to that kid or the kid's mother? All of you know that story, right? So that would bring definitely criticism. That is the reason Mahatma Gandhi has followed it himself, all by himself, and then suggested it to the kid's mother, right? That is also one more important thing. Then, which enable others to follow the same. That's what I have given the example of Diwali. Then see here, you will feel happier and responsible, right? When you come up with a thought, definitely, and when you're implementing it, you will feel happier that you're doing something realistic. Then adhering to traffic rules, which is the most basic thing, and don't you think you'll feel happy? And one more satisfying thing which usually people do is just asking them to take care of the chunni. When you right, when you're riding on a bike or in a car, and when you see some girl, a pillion rider with her chunni towards the tire, definitely when you just pointed out that, you'll feel very happy that you have done something very good, right? So all these are basic things which will have huge impact on your mind, which will make you feel happier as well as responsible. So you feel that particular day that you are a citizen of India, that you have done something very good. Changing the mentalities, habits and actions is needed to bring the change we want in us and subsequent others by setting an example. Okay, small changes in a lifestyle helps us a lot. It helps in inculcating this positive attitude. Procrastination, how many of you have this habit of procrastinating things, right? Ripple effect, this is one more thing. So when you start doing something, things will have a ripple effect which you may not even think. You may not even know the impact it creates. For example, see this, during the revolt of 1857, don't you think that was a ripple effect, right? Then changes we make today as an individual and a society can be fruitful for our future generations. When you're being realistic, don't think only about yourself, think about future generations also. So this is what I'm mentioning in this point. Now we have another, by using our natural resources mindfully, right? So see this, everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. Even if you think of changing yourself, it is going to be only for 1 day or 2 days or maximum 1 week. Why can't you work on it and strive to continuously be that way? Right? So this is given by Leo Tolstoy. So you can use this. You can use this quote. Conclusion. Obviously, your conclusion also should talk about changing oneself as well as changing the world, because those are the keywords of the question. See, the best leaders of the world has ever known are the reformers who were accountable and responsible. Accountable, are you seeing the ethical terms I'm using here? Accountable, responsible for their own change. Keyword of the question. Each one of us can leave a stamp on this world by making our lives meaningful in 1,000 ways and making the lives of others better. If you want to see change, you must first start within. It's that simple and that's profound. See the effectiveness of these words. It's that simple and it's that profound. Changing with you is very, very simple, but it is going to have a profound impact. Okay? Yeah, so this is the value addition. Another way of introduction. Obviously, like in the first introduction, I have written about the quote given by Rumi himself, but here by using other quotes which reflect the same message or ideology or philosophy or thought. Another way of introduction can be the following way. So you can also introduce your answer by coming up with other quote which is similar to the given quote. Okay. See, to exist is to change. To change is to mature. To mature is to go on creating oneself endlessly. So you keep on creating a new you endlessly, which will have its impact on others even without you knowing it. Okay, this was given by Henry Bergson. So both the quotes, you can just go through that description. See here, developing certain values like empathy, compassion, generosity, mindfulness, all these are ethical terms which you should show in your answers. Another way of conclusion, you can change the world not by pointing out what is wrong with it, but by upgrading your model of reality to coincide with what you wish to see in the world. We can change the world starting today simply by changing ourselves first. This is alternative way of conclusion. Okay. Yeah. Another way of conclusion. Recognizing that changing the world does not require making massive actions. Yes. Just now we have discussed that it is so simple, yet it is profound. So it doesn't require massive actions, but sometimes all it takes is trying to fix and improve what's closest to you and affects you personally. So first change yourself. As mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, so you can also bring in the philosophical aspects, mythological aspects in your answers. Change is the only constant thing. Right? Yes. Fine, you understood. I'll just show you all some more value addition. See, Me Too movement, example of ripple theory, Me Too movement. All of you know Me Too movement, right? So I've provided the image here. So this was actually a ripple effect. They started in Hollywood, but later the entire world came to know about Me Too movement. And from then onwards, everybody, including the government, started taking about this particular topic very, very seriously. It became a movement, right? See, Mahatma Gandhi's quote, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. I've just given that explanation for that quote. See here, if you will change everything, everything will change for you. Don't wait for things to change. Change doesn't start out there. Change starts within. All change starts with you. You just remember, I'm providing images, image-based course. I just didn't mention the quote here. I'm providing images so that you will remember the person as well as the name here. So just observe that person for at least 30 seconds and you will remember the person and the name. This will add huge to your mind. Definitely, this is for sure. Okay? Understood? Now you understood how to address that question. Whenever you see the question, you're going to come up with key words, key directives, dimensions. In the previous question, the only one dimension you need to address, that is how it is wiser to bring the change in you before bringing the change in the world. Okay. After that, you're going to talk directly conclusion, but you should make a lot of value addition with ethical terms, quotes, the way I have shown you. Okay. Yes. Now let's quickly see the second question. The same activity. How are values related to ethics? Describe how important values are for good governance. Suggest few measures to strengthen moral values and ethics in governance. Now observe this question carefully and come up with keywords, key directive and dimensions. Right? Are you all ready? So the question is, how are values related to ethics? Describe how important values are for good governance. Suggest few measures. Now, you're seeing this question. So the first thing is, you have to check out the keywords of the question. The keywords of this question are values, ethics, then good governance. No, you need not come up with so many things. You can't keep on using values, ethics, good governance, moral values, ethics and governance in everything. You have to be cautious enough to identify which are the keywords so that you will keep on using these keywords in your answers. So the main aspects of this particular question is values, ethics, good governance. You will keep on using these words interrelatedly. Okay. So obviously now you know that these are the keywords. The next thing is key directive. What is the key directive here? In the first question, how is the key directive? Second question, second part, describe is the key directive. Third one, even suggest is a key directive. So, how are values related to ethics? So, the question itself is saying that values and ethics are related. How are they related? That is what you should write. That is first one. Next, important values are for good governance. So, it is saying that values are important for good governance. It is asking you to describe it. Then, you have to suggest few measures to strengthen moral values and ethics in governance. Now, in the previous question, did we come up with examples of civil servants? What was that example? In the previous question, when I was talking about changing oneself, did we come up with examples of civil servants? Okay, can we come up with examples of civil servants? Yes. Okay. In this particular question, can we come up with examples of oneself? Okay, you can. Which is more effective? In the first question, between giving examples of oneself and giving examples of civil servants, which is effective? And in this question, between giving examples between oneself and civil servants, which is effective? In second question, giving examples of civil servants. Why? Very good. Very good. Very good. So why I have asked you all this question is, this is how you should know which examples to use in your answers. Understood? So when it is about oneself, you talk about the common things, common habits, which should be very, very easier for everybody to do. You can't make everybody become a civil servant and tell him that you bring in this change in you and only then you'll bring the change in the world. But here, as the question is about good governance, and governance aspect is majorly done by the civil servant. So here, it is mandatory that you have to come up with examples of civil servants. Here, if you use the examples of common man, it won't be so effective. You can use, but you won't get that 1 mark or 2 marks extra. Understood? This is a difference to analyze examples. This is a very important learning of this particular question. Okay. So obviously, you'll talk about, this is a 10 marker. So you can't keep on writing about values. You can't keep on writing about ethics. You can't keep on, there are already 3 dimensions which you have to answer. So you should know how to shorten your answer. So in the first part, you will directly talk about ethics, values and their relation. Okay. And I know most of you have this habit of starting your answers with a common ethics definition. Don't do that. Don't do that. For example, if you're getting 13 questions in ethics, 13 static questions in ethics, make sure that you come up with different introductions for all the 13 questions. Write about ethics and its definition in only one question. In other questions, go with writing about the other keywords such as values here. As this is our first question about ethics, because in the previous one we didn't have the chance to talk about ethics, right? So in this question, write what is ethics in short, in just 2 lines. Ethics are a set of some moral principles which determine what is right and what is wrong. And what are values? Values are some qualities. And based on that qualities, these qualities can be inculcated, can be learned. But ethics is not about that. Ethics is a set of moral principles. If you're following that, it means that you're ethically correct. If you're not following that, it means that you're ethically wrong. But when it comes to values, they are some qualities which you can inculcate in yourself, which you can learn. So based on that qualities only, you will determine which is right and which is wrong. Okay, so you'll talk about that difference between ethics and values, as well as that relation between ethics and values in your introduction. After that, you will talk about values and good governance. And it is this aspect which is like the life of the answer. It is this part where you have more scope to bring in the examples of civil servants, and for every point I have given an example of a civil servant in this answer. Okay, now let us see. Yeah, just go through this. And as I told you, while writing about values, you have to also mention the types of the qualities which are actually called as values, like compassion, integrity. Then tell me some values. Empathy, honesty, punctuality. All these are values which you have to give examples. Okay? Yes. Yeah. Importance of values in good governance. Obviously, good governance is nothing but the best possible process for making and implementing decisions. You'll not just come up with decisions. You'll not just come up with decisions. You'll also implement them. That is good governance. Good government is different from good governance. Government is different. Governance is implementing. Okay. Yeah. So see here, I talked about the Right to Information Act as the first example. Later, how values can create an ecosystem of good governance. That is the heading I have kept. So you have to come up with such simple yet innovative headings. Okay. See, you can also write in short that simply you can say values dash good governance. If you can't come up with innovative lines, you can do this also, values dash good governance. Very simple, right? Just put this as a heading and write down your points. So see here, I brought in values like compassion and empathy, and I gave an example of Kiran Bedi ma'am. She has turned around the state of Tihar jail with her strong values, right? Then honesty and integrity, they are the values, and then I'm relating it to transparency and accountability in working of the government, which is nothing but governance again. So Ravi, a municipal commissioner, Ravi sir, so he has introduced an e-tendering system to make process of tender allocation in a very transparent way to reduce the corruption. Abiding the law and striving for justice, another value, makes governance fair and equitable. Another example, being objective, rational, kind, friendly, all these are also values. So, Armstrong Palme, an IAS officer, built a 100 kilometers road in Manipur by crowdfunding from people. So, this is nothing but being objective. What is being objective? What is the meaning of being objective? What is being rational? What is kind? Obviously, you should be knowing what is kind. Objective is nothing but it's like being realistic only, and you will show things or be in such a way that you won't show that biased nature. There won't be any partiality towards anybody. Rational is obviously being realistic, being open, being logical. So you don't see the issue from your point of view, but you'll see the issue from all others' point of view. That is being rational. Kind, friendly, right? So helps to understand their problems and address them effectively. Dedication, selflessness. Are you seeing the values I'm using in everything? And are you understanding how I'm doing? See, the heading is values and good governance, right? So I'm starting all my points first with values and relating them to good governance. Such type of certainty in your answers also gives you marks. I'm not complicating the things. I'm not writing about good governance in the first point and then talking about values later. No, I'm following a single thing where I'm talking about values followed by good governance. Okay? Yes. Dedication, selflessness, responsiveness. Another example. Then the next dimension. The value system of governance can be strengthened by like what are the question says, what are some measures to take to strengthen the value system of good governance. So I have brought in the second administrative reforms commission here. you have to bring in a lot of committees, lot of commissions, a lot of reports in your ethics answers. Okay? Yes. So see here, codification of ethics, strong vigilance systems, digitization and e-governance, all this should be in tune with governance. Don't come up with generalized statements. Okay? Delegation of work and responsibility in every organization, that is also an important point in governance. Values to selflessness, honesty, inculcated early stage through education will lead to ethical leadership in the future. So you should not forget about our previous generations, because they are our future. So in all your ethics answers, one point can be like this. Remember to talk about future generations as well as present. Anyway, you are going to talk about your present, the previous generations or the past. All these examples are of the past, but you are talking about something which you are going to do in future, because you are going to become an administrator in future, right? So you should think about setting an example for others or giving such suggestions to your younger ones. Okay, so don't forget this. Then conclusion. Now you may ask me a doubt. Ma'am, how can we write so many points? Do you have any answer? Because it's just 150 words. But I have showed you so many examples. So tell me, what are you going to do? Filter. What are you going to filter? Filter the content, or filter the words, or filter the examples, or filter the values? Simple. I have given you so much information. You choose just 3 to 4 points from this and write down. It's very simple. 3 to 4 points or 3 points. Write down 3 points in how to strengthen, 3 examples in the relationship between values and good governance. That's it. These are the examples I gave you all. I don't mean that you have to write all these. You can write whichever example you remember, but try to shorten your answer, because this is a 150 word answer. Okay? Yes. And then you'll conclude your answer, and your conclusion should have the keywords, values, ethics, good governance, right? So ensure that, see, governance, that is a keyword, good governance, obviously, then ethical and value system. So did we use all the keywords here? And if you read the conclusion also, see here, the governance is a core concept of democratic modern society, and a rational society can never exist without good governance. Some point to emphasize good governance and how values and ethics are going to give a very good push, or how good governance needs you to be to have values as well as ethics in you. Okay? Value addition, see, I have given some more examples here. Rekha, as an IT officer in the AP government, played a key role in digitizing land records. This not only increased transparency but also made it easier for citizens to access these documents. Yes? So if you read it yourself, you may not remember. I am reading out for you because you will remember more. Durga Shakti Nagpal, an IAS officer of UP, was suspended in 2013 for taking action against the sand mafia. She was reinstated after a public outcry. Just imagine the influence or the effect or the impact she had on the people. So it was public who again made her sit in her chair. She is Durga Shakti. See the word here? So this is good governance. You can just go through this. The tenets of good governance: being accountable, transparent, responsive, conscience-oriented, participatory, inclusive, following rule of law, efficient. So come up with such diagrams in your ethics answers, because these are all 150 word answers. So to save your number of words, to save your space, come up with such answers. Come up with such representations. Okay? Yes, so every day I'm also coming up with quote analysis, right? So you have to see the quote and write down your own analysis immediately after seeing the quote. So the quote for day 1 was, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples. It is interlinking to the above question. So by seeing this, one thing is you can use this quote in that first question. Secondly, if at all you get any essay topic or ethics with regards to change, you can use this quote. It is interlinking to that one. That means every change begins with you and it has that huge impact to create ripple effect. Clear? So if you get this quote, definitely you can write that answer. Yeah. This quote tells us that though our attempt to bring any difference in the society might be small and insignificant, it can have the power to create ripples of change. So you may think that I'm just a single person. What can I do? But you never know how that is going to have a huge impact in future. You never know. Right? You never know. Your friend may become a PM in future. Right? He may become an actor all of a sudden. All these social media influencers are becoming the heroes and heroines of the day. All of a sudden, you didn't know that. Now you keep on seeing them on YouTube and Instagram reels. They were your friends. And now they are coming up in interviews like iDream interviews and all. Yeah. So, understood? Did you all have this basic idea now? Okay, so this first day class was a bit elaborative because I wanted you all to know how to approach the question and how to actually answer it. Now you understood where to use the quotes, how to choose the examples in your answers depending upon the question itself. Now we are within the question. We didn't go outside the question, right? Clear? Yeah. Let's quickly begin. Yeah, this is day 2. We are going to do this very, very quickly. Day 2 topics was dimensions of ethics. The same note to students which you have to go through. Yeah. See this question. Explain about the just war theory and its principles. Can it be applied to the current scenario in the world? Justify your reasons. Dimensions of ethics. This question is under dimensions of ethics. Now quickly write down the keywords, key directives and dimensions. Just war theory and its principles. Can it be applied to current scenario in the world? Justify your reasons. 2 minutes. So what are the keywords of this question? Huh? Just war theory, principles, current scenario. Okay, so these are the keywords. So throughout your answer, you're going to talk about just war theory. Then you'll also emphasize on its principles. Then you'll talk about, whatever you're coming up with, they should belong to current scenario. Exactly. This is the key word. You can't come up with older examples. Current scenario need not be very, very present or happening. It can be the recent examples also. Okay. Yes. Then what are the key directives? Explain is the key directive. Okay. Can it be applied? Okay. Okay. Applied is the key directive. Then justify. So can it be applied is the key directive. So you have to say if that can be applied or not. If it's not, you should give your reasons. If it is connecting, you should give your reasons. Okay. Yes. So explain the just war theory and its principles. So when the key directive is asking you to explain, it's like it is expecting you to write something about what is that theory and also what are its principles. Okay, that is the first part. Next, can it be applied to the current scenario in the world? If you are saying yes, justify it with your reasons. Justification. What is justification? How do you justify your answers? Through examples and through clear explanation. See, for example, if somebody says that you have robbed something and you didn't do it, then I'll ask you to justify your reasons. So you're going to prove it to them through some evidence, right? So here you can't show the evidence to the evaluator, but you have to give examples. Through examples and through your reasons of explanation, you will justify your answer. Okay? Yes. So what is just war theory? Have you heard this concept? No? Okay. Just if you don't know anything about just war theory, literally just come out with the literal meaning of this term and tell me what is just war theory. Is it talking about it's just a war? Then think from ethical point of view and tell me. Shall I give you a clue? The meaning of the word just here and the meaning of the ethical term justify, both are same. So now you think and tell me. Is justify a positive word or a negative term? Positive term. So you are going to justify something, means that is a good thing. So just war theory in the sense,
Justifying war and war.
very good. That's it. So just war theory states that war should not happen always. They should take place only in the extreme situations and only when it is actually necessary. That is just war. So if you have proper reasons about why you are going for a war, for example, two nations are going with a conflict and they want to go for a war, they should have proper reasons, just reasons. Just reasons is not only reasons. Justification. There should be proper justification for those reasons, and that is how they want to come up with a war. And moreover, this particular thing of just war theory means that you can go on a war, but it should not inflict more damage, especially to the common people. Okay, so it doesn't mean that war should include the blood. Still, for political reasons, for your sovereign thing, if you want to save your people from something from other country, from the dangers of other country, you want to conduct a war, you can. But you should justify some reasons that you're not going to harm the public. You're not going to make use or totally deal with the economic hardships of that particular country. It should be just, it should be reasonable for conducting a war. That is called as just war theory, and this mainly comes out of the concept of Christianity. Okay? Yeah. So, principles. There are certain principles for just war theory. The way I told you, there are certain principles, and can it be applied to the current scenario in the world? Now you tell me, are the wars in current scenario in the world are following this just war theory? No. No. So when you're saying no, justify it with your reasons why you're saying no. Obviously, many civilians are being killed, and many of them are doing with the political agenda. Are terrorists following any just war theory? No. And if they are not following just war theory, indirectly they are making the other countries not follow just war theory, because these countries can't stay silent as they are totally mobbed by the terrorists. The way I told you, change in you results in change in the world. So when the terrorists are not changing, obviously what is happening? Even these people are leaving the principles of just war. Understood? And obviously political parties, what they should do, they have to save their country, save the people of their country. That is their main agenda. So they'll do whatever they want to save the people of their country. So it's an ethical concept. That is the reason I've given this question. Okay, so justify your reasons. Obviously, you see the introduction. Your answer should start with just war theory's principles. Give your views on how just war theory does or does not justify waging wars with appropriate reasons, because there may be some students who say that yes, the world is following just war theory. And having that reason is also, having that view is also not wrong, if they provide proper examples and reasons for their explanation and for their thought. Okay, conclude the answer with a futuristic note. Just war theory provide a guide to the right ways for states to act in potential conflict situations, provides a useful framework for individuals and political groups to take decisions about war. So it's not saying that no, you should not go with war. It is saying that yes, you can go for a war, but with certain principles. Okay. See, the war theory doesn't intend the war is ethically a right thing. It is also not saying that war is correct, but it tells that going to war except in certain limited circumstances is wrong, and thus motivate states to find other ways of resolving conflicts. So this war should be an extreme thing, that last resort when you can't do anything. That also in a somewhat peaceful manner. That is just war. Okay. Body of the answer. Obviously, the question asks you to talk about the principles of just war theory, and these are the principles of just war theory, which was originated with the Greek and Roman philosophers like Plato and Cicero. You have to mention these thinkers' names. Okay, Augustine, Thomas Aquinas. Don't forget to mention these thinkers' names. See, these are the principles. It should be the last resort. Then it should come from a legitimate authority. You are a common man. You can't go and wage a war and say that I'm following the principles of just war theory. You should come from a legitimate authority or government. Just cause. So the cause should be real. The cause should be true. It should not cause injustice. Probability of success. So realistic chance of victory in order to be fair. A country cannot engage a war for a hopeless cause. See, for example, US going and waging a war on a small country. Obviously, US will win. That will be silly, right? Just to show that I'm a strong country, US can't do that. Right intention. So the true intention. Proportionality. The countries participating in the conflict must avoid excessive military action and employ only the amount of force that is absolutely required. Even this is a principle. See how interesting this point is? So just because you are okay with waging a war, according to this just war theory, it doesn't mean that you go with the heavy troops. Only how many troops or how many people you need, you take them, you send them. Okay? Just signaling a war, but not the damage. Civilian casualties. They should be taken care of. Innocent people must never be the aim of a conflict. We are seeing this in current scenario, right? Many civilians are being killed. The theory also talks about the responsibilities after the war. This is an extra information I have given. See, now according to just war theory, you have going with the war. Okay, but the theory also talks about after war effects. What you should do after the war. See. All the parties involved must come together to solve the chaos created by the war. You can't leave everything there. You can't leave the mess there. A treaty should be created to avoid future conflicts. Definitely. Just because I have waged a war on you, again, you should not plan to come up with a war on me and that keeps on continuing means. Right? The world will never sleep in peace. So, to avoid future conflicts, this also talks about coming up with a treaty. The ones who have lost the war should not be left in shackles. Peace, restoration, humanitarian aid should be ensured because all of us are human beings. We live in the same world on the same ground. So even if you lose, see if two friends are having a conflict, even if the other person loses, you'll have to at least give him your shoulder, right? You just give him your hand. Better luck next time. That is a better thing. That doesn't mean that you come up with a war again on me. Okay, so humanitarian aid should be ensured. If he is injured, at least take him to hospital. Okay, you have won in that battle, but at least take him to hospital. That is humanity, which we are not seeing in today's world. Okay, wars in the current world and just war theory. Obviously, because the question asked you to justify the reasons if this is there in the current scenario or not. I have given some examples and reasons. Okay. Just go through this. So all these are not following the principles of just war. So my opinion is no, the current scenario is not following the just war theory. Cyber wars, nuclear wars, right? You can mention all these things. See these terms here? The question is only about war, but you coming up with such terms of cyber wars, nuclear wars, bio wars, this will add a lot to your answer. Okay? Conclusion. So obviously, as I told you, the conclusion should include the keywords of just war theory, principles, then current scenario. The character of war is changing fast and the ethics needs to keep pace with that change. So when I said that you have to use the keywords in introductions and conclusions, it need not be the exact usage of those words. It can be the sense of those words. Okay, so these particular principles might well read revision. So I've given a futuristic conclusion. You can just go through this. Value addition, another way of conclusion. Just go through this. Here in this question, I brought in the aspect of, in this conclusion, I brought in the aspect of morality. I brought in the aspect of political ends, terrorists. Even this you can use in your conclusions. See, Mahatma Gandhi's quote. Can you see it? I appeal for cessation of hostilities Not because you are too exhausted to fight, but because war is bad in essence. This is given by Mahatma Gandhi. Yeah, pacifism. See these interesting concepts. Have you heard of pacifism or pacifism? Realism. See, try to include these in your answers. Try to include these concepts. Pacifism is nothing but war always involves a violation of moral duties. Is it a violation of one's duty to kill someone if you're resisting their aggression? In practice, no war has met the conditions of just war theory. Realism, relations between states are governed by justice. This is realism. Descriptive realism, we have prescriptive realism. Just go through this. Just war, the middle way, see here. So we have moral red lines which the countries are actually not following. Realism, pacifism, utilitarianism. Just you can come up with such diagrams. Yeah, so this is the last question for today. The same procedure. I'll do the question for you. Take 2 minutes time. What is meant by bioethics? Why is it important to study bioethics? Explain about the need of it in the era of emerging life and healthcare related technology. This is a very, very, very important concept. So think properly and tell me the keywords, the dimensions, and the key directives of this question. And you'll also need to tell me how many of you know about bioethics. Yes? So the question is, what is meant by bioethics? Why is it important to study bioethics? Explain about the need of it in the era of emerging life and healthcare related technology. Now you are going to tell me the keywords of this question.
Bioethics.
Okay. Okay.
Need of it in the
Okay. That's it? Okay. So, you have missed an important aspect in this question. Yes. Emerging life and what technology? What is bioethics?
set of moral principles used to be followed during the biological warfare or chemical warfare.
You're talking about warfare. So it is directly about warfare?
No.
It can be, yes, you're trying to say something. It can be anything related to biological aspect. Anything, biotechnology, biomedicals, normal medicine, animals, it can be related to animals also because they are also biological living beings, right? Plants, law, philosophy, you take any concept about, because it is all about biological and life, right? So any concept, some concepts have a lot of controversial aspects. You may not know which is correct and which is wrong sometimes. During that times, ethics will help you, and that is called as bioethics, right? If to give you an example, what is euthanasia? Have you heard of euthanasia? What is it? Passive killing. Okay, so passive killing is euthanasia. Okay. Have you seen that movie of Hrithik Roshan and Aishwarya Rai? Guzarish, I think. Yeah, that's Guzarish. What is that? That movie is entirely based on the concept of euthanasia. Euthanasia is also called as mercy killing. So euthanasia is something that when a person is seriously ill and you can't see that person on the bed suffering, you will go with killing of that person. That is called as mercy killing. So in that movie, Hrithik Roshan asks for mercy killing. I can't live like this because he'll be totally bedridden, right? And he needs somebody to help him. So he can't see himself like that. So he chooses death over life. And he asks the court to end his life. That is mercy killing. That means you show some mercy and kill me because I can't take this life. I can't lead this life. That is euthanasia. And we have two types of euthanasia. One is active euthanasia and the second one is passive euthanasia. In India, you just think and tell me, because all of you are Indians, right? So you think and tell me, do we allow both types of euthanasia, or only active euthanasia, or only passive euthanasia, or we totally deny all types of euthanasia? You think and tell me what can be your answer. Yes?
We don't completely deny it because the people who are in ventilators, if they want to live their life, their family members with a legal procedure, they can go it and they can do it.
Okay, so according to the description I have given, what does your example come under? Passive euthanasia or active euthanasia? Passive. Then what is active? Okay, you don't know, so you're asking me? Okay. See, active euthanasia is nothing but doing it actively. That means you deliberately want to kill a person. You deliberately want to kill a person. If a person is hospitalized, okay, you deliberately go and kill him. That is active euthanasia. When it comes to passive euthanasia, I mean, all of you are Telugu people, so have you seen this movie called, what is that? Mahesh Babu and Samantha's movie. What is that movie? Dukudu. Yeah. So you get that example of killing that person in the hospital. Now you tell me, was it done deliberately or it's passive? It was not done deliberately. It was done deliberately, but shown in a way that it was done passively. So active euthanasia in the sense killing the person deliberately. For example, if I am a doctor, obviously I am a doctor, so I go and give a injection to the person to kill him. That is active euthanasia. Whereas when it comes to passive euthanasia, I am not injecting anything or toxic material into the person, but I am just removing the plug of a ventilator. Passive euthanasia is something where I am stopping the treatment. Stopping the treatment. So obviously the person will die. Active euthanasia in the sense I am deliberately going and killing him immediately. And in India, we don't have active euthanasia, we have only passive euthanasia. So if you can't see your relative or your close person suffering, you can just put up an application for this mercy killing and the doctors are going to remove the ventilator support or they are going to stop treating the person. They won't kill the person immediately, but they'll stop treating the person and gradually the person will lose his life. That is passive euthanasia. So this euthanasia comes under bioethics because it's a controversy, right? You don't know whether to kill that person because he's your close person. You can't tell the doctors to kill him. At the same time, you can't see him suffer. This is a conflict. So this comes under bioethics. At this point of time, you need to properly see which is going to help. If there are any other treatment options to save that person, if you are able to take that person outside India, all these things should be considered. Okay, and if that person is in coma constantly and if doctors tell you that there is no chance of him to come out of that coma, then definitely, obviously we'll have threshold, right? In spite of being a closer relative, you can't keep on wait for years. If there is at least 10% probability, maybe you may wait. But if the doctor says that there is no chance, you will have to go with passive euthanasia. That is very, very hurting, but still that is the reality. All of us are humans, right? That is the reality. Okay? So that concept is bioethics. Surrogacy. So when you take surrogacy as a concept, sometimes if you take it from the point of view of the couple who are in need of a child, you support surrogacy. But what about the person or the mother who is bearing the child? And there are some instances, like it is shown in the movie called Mimmi, right? Yeah, she has won the national award too. So yeah, so that there won't be a guarantee if the couple is really going to take the child after the delivery. So there are different types of surrogacy also. And in India, what do we follow? You need to know all these things. Okay, learn about altruistic form of surrogacy today. That's a homework for you. What is altruistic form of surrogacy? Okay. Yes. So all these are the concepts of bioethics which you should know. Okay, bioethics. Okay. So and moreover, the world is evolving. In technological aspects also we are evolving. So when we apply this scientific knowledge to all the concepts of life, we need ethics also. We can't just keep on going with the advances by ignoring ethics. True? So that is where bioethics becomes very, very important. Yeah. So what is meant by bioethics? I told you, you're going to write it. Yeah, I'll show you. Yeah. So what are you going to do? You'll first talk about what is meant by bioethics and the importance of bioethics. Okay, explain about the need of it in the era of emerging life and ethical. Now I have a question for you. Here I talked about the importance of bioethics, whereas the next part of the question talks about the need of bioethics. Can anybody think and tell me the difference between importance and need, or are they both same? No, because I have given it in two questions.
Importance is the significance of bioethics.
Okay.
And how it can be used. Need example, we can take it in the case of surrogacy.
Okay. So what's happening in surrogacy and how can bioethics become a need in surrogacy?
Taking care of the surrogate mother. So there is a need for the mother, need to take care of the surrogate mother.
Okay.
So it is a major.
Very good, I understood. So when I gave her the example of surrogacy, she is talking about the care of that mother, and she is a vulnerable aspect there. So when the question asks you to talk about some importance or significance, that should be from positive point of view, and you talk about the positive aspects or important aspects of that particular topic. But when the question asks you to write about the need, this is a very important learning which I did during my preparation. So I'm telling this to you all. So whenever the question says need means, always remember, when the question says need means vulnerability. So when the question asks you to talk about the need of something, you should write about the vulnerable aspects first or negative aspects first. So as there is this vulnerability, we need this. The first part is important. So this is important because of this reason. But need, you'll talk about vulnerability. So that woman is vulnerable, so we need bioethics, the concept of bioethics here. So need always arises from vulnerability. Importance and need, significance and need are both different aspects. Okay? Yes, then you will talk about the need, especially in emerging life and healthcare related technology. Fine? Yes, and you are going to explain it. What are the key directives here? This is one key directive, this is two key directives, this is a third one. So what is meant by bioethics? What is it? Why it is important? You will give reasons for its importance. Then you will explain about the need of it by showing the vulnerable aspects. Right? Clear? Yes. Now see the answer. Introduction, obviously, ethics and then bioethics. You can also start your answer directly with bioethics. Okay, you need not talk about ethics again. Right? Yes. So bioethics is nothing but biology, biotechnology, medicine, law, philosophy, it can be anything, and application of scientific knowledge with ethical norms. Okay? Importance of studying bioethics. Now see here. Why do we need? Because the question is why. So why is bioethics important? Because fields like biotechnology are constantly evolving. When some things are constantly evolving, they also need some eye on it, and bioethics is coming up with that eye. You know, big boss eye, because there's always a constant view on the people. Similarly, bioethics is becoming a big boss eye here for the emerging concepts. Okay? Yes. So it is essential for scientists to consider the research project from ethical point of view. Even when scientists are coming up with research projects, they have to think ethically. So it is that is where bioethics plays a important role. Then without this moral compass, door is open to unethical uses. Definitely, when there is nothing to take care of, everything will be done in an unethical manner. So that is the reason bioethics is important. Then with the development of medicine, medical devices, the question is about life and health related issues. So you have to talk about medicine and healthcare also. Need of bioethics, as I told you. Now see the difference. In the first part, in the importance, I'm talking about the positive aspects. Why bioethics is important. But in the second part, I'm talking about, see the usage of words here. If you write division of resources, it is a positive thing. If you mention improper division of resources, it is a vulnerability. As there is improper division of resources, we need bioethics. Now, what is this improper division of resources? See, who gets what and who is more deserving. You see the example and you'll understand. Should scarce healthcare resources be divided according to need or ability to pay or potential for economic productivity? Now, you have some healthcare resources. You have 15 beds in a hospital. There will be a question to whom you should allocate those 15 beds. For example, you have seen COVID. There were many questions related to bioethics for the hospital administration as well as doctors. Should these 15 beds be given to children or older women or those with huge complications or with healthier people who are with normal, like small complaints? This is bioethics. So here you will think about all the possible options. If I give to an older man, what will happen? Even if I don't give that support as a doctor, as he is old, he may lose his life in some days, months or years. But can I ignore the life of a child who has more future? That is bioethics. So you will not go for the instant. You'll think about the reasons, you'll analyze the reasons and then go for the solution. That is bioethics. Okay? So see here, or some other criteria. So if at all you are paying me more, as a doctor, you are paying me more for the bed. So will I allocate the bed even though you are 95-year-old? Even then, I should not become a correct person that way. I should think about that alternative person who is waiting to have that bed. Incorrect assessment of situations. See, deciding questions like who is more in need of deserving healthcare service at particular situations. For example, I'm a doctor, so I get a patient to be treated. He's a terrorist. So what should I do? As a doctor, I should treat him, but he's a terrorist and he has done a lot of harm to our country. So what should I do? I should treat. Okay, I should treat and save him who is responsible for the loss of many lives of our country.
Because you kind of take a pledge, and it happened also in 2007 like in Mumbai days.
Okay.
So the doctor, a lot of people have hatred towards him, but as a doctor, as a neurosurgeon, he did to he helped that Kasab human who he treated.
Kasab. So now, can people question my ethics there?
Yes.
So what will I do?
He should be treated under police surveillance.
Okay. So because he's harmful to me?
No. After getting cured, the police.
He can be harmful to me also.
At the first stage, he's not. Because then treatment evaluation.
I didn't tell you that if he's conscious or not. He can be conscious also. So, usually we doctors have this thing that we have to save lives irrespective of what person is. So, I'll do my duty as a doctor, and it is the duty of the police and the law to take care of his crime. That is where I'll not think that he has taken lives of many, so I'll deliberately kill him. I'll do that active euthanasia for him. No. Even before you take anybody for capital punishment, they will be properly checked. And if a person has any healthcare related issue, they won't go for the capital punishment. The person won't be hanged. I think you might have seen this movie called Jawan recently. Right? Just before hanging Deepika Padukone, she'll be pregnant. So they'll wait for 5 years for her child to grow, and on the 5th birthday, she'll be hanged. So there are certain criteria for these things. All these come under bioethics. You should use such examples in your answers. You should use real life examples in your answers. Okay? That is one example. Then see, does a serial killer in prison suffering from chronic illness should be given treatment or should be left to suffer? Definitely they should be given treatment. There is a rule in court of law that before hanging, the person should be healthy to die. Right? Misuse of privacy. Right? Obviously, we come up with many patient information, many sensitive information. So, who is going to say that information in going out or against going out? Definitely, we should have some principles of bioethics. We should follow some principles of bioethics. So, we will not let this patient information outside. So, misuse of privacy. If you just talk about privacy, it won't become need. Misuse of privacy is the vulnerability, which is where we need the concept of bioethics. Okay, just go through that example. Biopiracy. See, the word itself is a vulnerability. In reproductive health, ethical issues. So, as I'm talking about ethical issues, this is the vulnerability here. We have ethical issues involved in reproductive health. Definitely, we have talked about this surrogacy, abortion procedures, IVF treatment, gender-based infertility treatments. So, even though we need all this from medical and healthcare point of view, we need to follow some ethics. This is where bioethics comes into picture. Okay? So, bioethics comes and solve. What is cloning? Yes? What is cloning? Cloning.
Another vector.
Okay. So, you are a researcher. Can you come up with my clone? And let her put up another FemPower IAS? No, you can. You can come up with a clone. So why can it be wrong?
It is misused.
And there are more chances of misusing. Why do you need another person? Why do you need the clone of somebody? Definitely there will be some intention, right? If it has got all positives, then why can't India come up with another Modi? The clone of Modi, the clone of Shah Rukh. Obviously, Shah Rukh's son Abram is called as the clone of Shah Rukh. There was a lot of controversy regarding this. So cloning, in the sense, they determine the traits of the parents. They take the traits of the parents through genetic material and then instill in that test tube. That is how test tube babies are born. And even test tube babies is an ethical concept when bioethics, because you can't say that I'm taller, so my kid also should be taller. That case, if that follows, all the people will be taller. If you like Shah Rukh Khan, if you want a son to be like Shah Rukh Khan, will that be possible? See, Aishwarya Rai is the most beautiful woman in the world. So, are we finding all Aishwarya Rais on the road? So, that is not ethically correct. That is about cloning. Okay, there are a lot of ethical issues involved here because we need diversity. We need genetic diversity. We need species diversity. So, if we come up with this cloning without ethical aspects, we are going to weaken the diversity of human species. Gene editing also, even that is an ethical issue. So, if there is no bioethics applied here, you will cut any genes you want. You, in the sense, the researchers, not the common man. You will cut and paste any gene you want. Is that true? Is that correct? It's not correct to do it, right? It is only done for desired traits which is healthy for large number of people, but not for specific agenda. Okay. Then vaccine development. What is vaccine hesitancy? Even, during COVID, I have met a lot of people and I was convincing them to take that COVID vaccination. And they were like, is it essential? We are safe like this. We are already affected with COVID. That's gone. That's there in our body. We have already gained that immunity. So we don't need vaccination. That is vaccine hesitancy. It may impact future generations, right? Why are you not thinking that way? Okay. And obviously, I talked about all the aspects of ethical issues involved in relating to bioethics. So your conclusion should give some solutions because you talked about issues. So can you come up with specific solutions for the scientific developments which are emerging and which keep on happening? Can you constantly say that yes, this should be done? Think properly and tell me. The answer is no. You can't say because it is emerging, it is advancing. Every day we are coming up with new things. So you can't properly say. But you have to ensure that whatever solution you are coming up with, you have to check it from the point of view of scientific, economic, political, social, religious and cultural factors. So whatever may be the topic, whatever may be the issue, consider all these aspects and come up with a solution for that particular situation, which is not constant. It keeps on changing because the scientific technology is keeping on changing. Okay? Yes, there is a value addition for this question. I have given another way of introduction. You are totally going to be filled with information in my ethics files. A lot of examples, a lot of quotes, a lot of alternative introductions and conclusions. Okay? Yes. Bioethics. See here. Subjects of bioethic questions. Animals, humans, plants. I told you because it is about bio, living organisms. Then bioethics principles. So these are the principles of bioethics, which is extra information I have given. Beneficence. Non-maleficence, autonomy, justice, the 4 bioethics principles. So when you're applying the concept of bioethics, you have to keep these 4 principles in mind. Now what is this beneficence? Duty to maximize benefits. The word itself is saying, right, beneficence. So whenever you're coming up or with application of bioethics, you should think about maximizing the benefits. Okay? As I told you, if you're saving a coma patient, you should think if that patient really survives and what happens if he survives. Is it really helpful? Or shall we leave him to die? Non-maleficence, avoiding. Non-avoiding. Maleficence, obviously that's a negative word. So avoid causing harm and to minimize harm to the patient. So you should not directly go and kill him. That is bioethics. Respect for autonomy. You respect a person's right of self-governance. Okay, sometimes when the patient is like in conscious state, doctors will go and take his consent also to remove that recovery system, to remove that ventilator system. Even that is done. And just imagine the amount of hurt it causes. You are signing on a paper for your death. You are giving your consent to take away that life support system. It's very, very hurting. I have seen such cases in my hospital. Right? Justice, you should follow justice to treat patients fairly and equitably. See here, bioethics, genetically, all these concepts are related to bioethics, end of life, assisted procreation, human cloning. Come up with such diagrams. You don't need to draw these ones. Just write bioethics and represent all those things. If you don't have time, you can do this. See this? Medical school. You must be this tall to enter. This is the entrance of the school. Here there is a level playing field or ground level, but here there is no. So if a person is standing here, the reason can be different, but still she is not coming to this height, so she is not allowed in that school. Because you must be this tall to enter. So here, they are not considering the aspect that there is a ground lowered here. So when the concept of bioethics is applied, they will consider that this height is lowered here. So we need to increase this height where the student will be that much tall to enter the school. That is bioethics. Okay. See here, chicken pox. The parent was having chicken pox. Your mother and I don't believe in vaccine, so they didn't take vaccine. This way is more natural. We would never choose to hurt you. So this was told by his father, and later the future. See the future her. She is totally affected with chicken pox, and as chicken pox was infectious, she has affected her friends also. This happened because parents were hesitant to take vaccination. So this will have impact on generations to generations. Vaccine hesitancy. According to WHO, vaccination prevents 2 to 3 million deaths each year. You take vaccine, it is going to save you as well as others from death and other infections. Write the data in your answers. See, there are 2 different aspects of bioethicist and conservative bioethicist. What will a bioethicist think? I examine moral issues in the life sciences. I make recommendations and help guide people in making their own moral choices. This is all about moral thing. I draw upon multiple disciplines and views. So it is only about morality. What is a conservative bioethicist doing? My job is to examine issues, preserve traditional values, support the sanctity of life and advise based on moral intuitions. So her job is just to see or recommend and guide people, but his job is to examine the issues and preserve traditional values. There are 2 sides which a conservative bioethicist is doing. Okay? Biotechnologies are evolving and so are the approaches of bioethicist. This was the quote for the day. It is an unfortunate fact that we can secure peace only by preparing for war. Now how can you analyze this quote? Given by John F. Kennedy. It is an unfortunate fact that we can secure peace only by preparing for war. Can you relate this concept to something? He is going for war, but that war should be just. So this is relating to just war theory. You forgot just war theory after listening to bioethics? Then it is an unfortunate fact that we can secure peace only by preparing for war. So we have to be prepared for war. But apply those just war theory principles. In some extreme, we have seen those principles, right? So in some extreme situations, we have to go for war to secure peace. But do it with just war theory principles. That is what he is saying. So you can use the entire concept of just war theory if this quote is given. Yes. So this is how I'm coming up with my answers for ethics. Tell me your review. So see, these are not the answers for only these questions. You can apply these concepts and examples and quotes in your other answers also, right? So try to take this DD ethics initiative very, very seriously. Now in this 2 hours of the class, you learned many concepts in an ethical way and you will remember these concepts more. Write answers. If you write answers, your perspective will be one type. Whereas I am going to give you different perspectives like alternative introductions, alternative conclusions by giving different quotes, examples. Okay, so try to make use of this initiative properly and write answers every day. This way we are going to see the answers, right? And one more important thing is case studies. Just imagine if we can make our static questions so effective. Imagine how can I make your case studies. I'm going to make your case studies also very, very easier, and you're not going to deviate from the question. I didn't tell you anything which is totally extreme. You can do this in a common way, right? Right? In a simpler way. We are being within the question and I'm making you all think, I'm making you all write, I'm making you all do. Apply your mind. Let ethics become your personality. Put that personality on the paper. You will definitely see 150 to 160 marks. Okay, so in my class today, we'll continue the rest of the questions later. Okay, thank you.